So do you remember represents very much Cherry on the top, and she has to have a chance in the race from a good draw?
Yeah, she represents Cherry on the top, and obviously she's been mega consistent, this filly, as has already been pointed out. She's run second to Cherry on the top twice. So, last time our Cherry on the top clearly didn't run a race, and do you remember, as next best, basically stepped up to the plate and won. You can want to look at it that way. Very good filly, very honest filly. Personally, I think this year the 3-year-old filly crop on the whole has perhaps been a little more impressive than the 3-year-old colts. I think she's got an outside chance from that draw. A little bit worried about the form of the Will Hamilton in the sense that Blue Ridge Mountain did shift around quite badly and could arguably have been said to have been an unlucky loser. But this filly will certainly try her heart out. Whether she's good enough, I have my doubts. But again, the race is basically a handicap and you have to give her a chance.
Yeah, good point. Very good point. Let's move on to Jet Explorer, who was supplemented after a fantastic win in this course. Looks a very, very good horse. Typical Jet Masters. They get better as they get older. And Kevin, the horse is drawn well and who won very well last time.
Yeah, 10 out of 10. For me, it's got to be the horse to beat, but it's run behind Hill 54. It's run behind Tribal Dance. So you've got to give those other horses a chance as well. But for me, Anthony Del Pes drawn to just did win a very, very good race last time. It's going to be interesting, Left. This is one of the horses as well. You've got to put a question mark next to it. It's got to bring its A game to the course. But I think it's got a lot in its favour, and it's definitely in with a big chance.
Jet Explorer by Jetmaster out of an Icelander mare, so he'll stay every trip of the 2,200. I've got no doubt about that. He gets the services of Anthony, who's won 4 Julys now. He gets draw 2. Justin Snaith's in hot form. Fred Krabbe has been having a great run of success at the moment. So Jet Explorer, wouldn't surprise me if he came and caused a minor upset, I would say.
Okay. Matthew?
I'd say it wouldn't be an upset at all. I think this horse ticks a lot of the right boxes. First of all, what you have to understand is that the conditions of the Gravel 1900 were changed this year. It used to be a handicap, now it's a conditions race. And we could not penalise the winner of that race more than 6 points or 3 kilos. So that's why he's rated 101, but in reality I think he ran to something like a 105 when he won the Gravel 1900. If you're prepared to look at one race in isolation, if this horse repeats what he showed in the Gravel 1900, I think he'll go very, very close to winning. The 2 draw is a bonus. Having a 4 times July winning jockey like Anthony Del Pes is another bonus. Obviously the race is wide open, it's very competitive, but because of the new conditions of the Gravel 1900, this horse is actually carrying something like 2 or 2.5 kilos less than he should be carrying. From a handicapper's point of view, this has probably got to be the horse to beat.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is very well handicapped, well drawn, well bred. Got everything going for it, as he says, ticks a lot of the boxes. Let's move on to Wild One. We're going in order of the gallops today, and Wild One went out and galloped with a stablemate. And a horse who's run in the big races and run on, and I don't think any horse has ever overtaken this horse. It runs on very, very well. If there's no pace, Kevin, it's going to be tough from a bad draw.
Absolutely, Left. I think there's going to be a pace on in this July. He's a very, very nice horse. He's a smart horse. Jeff's always rated this horse very highly. He has made up a lot of ground in some big races. He's been a little bit stiff. The only concern for me, this horse is it just not 1 year too early? I think this horse, you'll find if he goes on in his career, this time next year, this horse could be a very, very big horse. Is he just not experienced enough for it all? He's got a bad draw. They're going to need to have a pace, but he runs on left. He's a good horse. You've got to give him a chance. He deserves his spot here. Give him a shot. Like you say, he runs on very well. So let's just hope for Jeff, and then the horse can give him a good account of himself.
Punta Arenas is by the absolute informed stallion. So what are you talking about? Are we talking about Wild? We missed Punta Arenas.
Wild One.
Okay, Wild One. Wild One, basically, I think, I don't know enough about the horse. I do know that he represents Wiley Hall. So wherever Wiley Hall runs, Wild One will be pretty close to him.
You know, it was interesting to hear what Kevin said about Wild One. I always had the impression too that this horse will get better as he gets older, and whatever happens here, he'll be a lot better horse next year or next season. He is a horse that does need a pace because he tends to run on from a long way off the pace, and the fact that it doesn't look like it's going to be a fast run race is a big, big worry. I don't think the race will be run to suit this horse. However, I'd like to point out that although he's officially rated 95, in the Daily News 2000, I think he ran to 101, but because he finished out of the first 5, we couldn't pick his rating up. So he is actually a lot better than the 95, so don't be misled by that. But I don't think the race is going to be run to suit him somehow.
Yeah, I concur. It's going to be tough for him. Let's move on to Punta Arenas, horse from Cape Town. Stan Ellie, when he brings horses up here, he does very well in the Vodacom Durban July with him. And that's got to be a big plus. He showed early in his career that if he stepped up to a trip, he was a better horse. And to me, it's a tough call on what I've seen in Natal.
Yeah, left. There's one thing this horse will definitely see the trip at. He stays like a poor relative. I also don't know much about him. I respect Mr. Ellie's judgment. He's brought horses here, and Stan brings one here. You've got to respect it. So it must have shown him or done something very special to actually get in the race as well. So I'll have to wait and see. I don't really know much about the horse.
Punta Arenas carried 61 kilograms and finished 3 3/4 legs behind Variety Club, carrying 61. That was over 1400. It was more suited to Variety Club and less suited to Punta Arenas. He then went and carried 56.5 and finished 2 1/4 lengths behind Astro News. He now goes down 3 kilos to 53.5. Unfortunately, he's got a bad draw. If he had a good draw, he might have been a horse that would have sneaked into something here. He might still do it, but he's well weighted.
Yeah, so in relation to Hill 54, I think he is well weighted. Obviously, he's run second to Hill 54 twice, once in the Algoa Cup in Port Elizabeth and once in the Peninsula Handicap in Cape Town. Hill 54 has subsequently run second in the Met, and his rating has gone up, and Punta Arenas' rating has stayed exactly where it is, basically. It has been all year at 100. If you think Hill 54 has got a chance, and at the weights, this horse has to have a very good chance. Unfortunately, the draw is an issue. The last run could arguably be a little bit disappointing, but it was his second run in Durban. Maybe it was slightly flat. He'll be cherry ripe on the day. The draw is a pity, but I think there could still be some each-way value in this horse. Simply taking the relativity with Hill 54 as your starting point, this horse has definitely got to have a chance at the weights.
Right, the next one we're going to move on to is Gothic, who snuck his way in this field because of his run in the Derby when he chased his stablemate at that stage, Wiley Hall, all the way down the stretch. He had Wild One, Telina, horses like that behind him. He's by Silvano. He's lightly raced. If I'm stand corrected, he only won an amateur race. He's only won the one race. And his inclusion's been taken straight off one race. How good he is, I don't know. I think it's going to be a very tough call, but he did run close to Wiley Hall, and that's probably what ensured that he got in.
Yeah, Leffers is all around that 3-year-old form. Wiley Hall, Gothic, they're all around each other in all these big 3-year-old classics. He's come from draw 20, Leff. I think it's a very hard call for a one-time winner to come from draw 20 in the July. When you talk about horses that won the July from draw 20, you're talking about Dynasties and Pomodoras and that. These horses were feature race winners. Anyway, it's going to be interesting to see. You can never count him out. That 3-year-old forms all around there. A lot of people say the 3-year-olds can't win. Well, then he's out of it. So, that, for my opinion, he's got a very tough task.
He's by Silvano once again, and he's on his days, he's proven that he is a good horse. He's run twice close to Wiley Hall. Unfortunately, he's got a bad draw to contend with. He was moving very nicely in the gallop this morning and stretched out very nicely, this horse Gothic. He's a horse that will improve. If he doesn't do it this year, I'm sure he'll be back in the July next year.
You know, the interesting thing about Gothic, obviously that run to Wiley Hall in the SA Derby is basically what got him into the race. And you know, what people need to understand is that as handicappers, we are not allowed to practice retrospective handicapping other than with 2-year-olds, effectively. And with Gothic, we rated him 97 coming out of the South African Derby. With hindsight, that is clearly far too low. He was beaten half a length by Wiley Hall, who's now rated 107. In reality, this horse Gothic, on that one run, probably should be rated closer to something like 104 or 105. So he's certainly not as badly handicapped as it looks. The fact that he's only a one-time winner doesn't concern me in the slightest. This is not about number of wins. This is about ability. Whether he can repeat the Derby run, having been off the course for more than 2 months and changing stables in the meantime, I don't know. Being drawn 20, obviously a killer. This horse could be the best handicapped 3-year-old in the race. Again, it takes us back to the question of whether you think the 3-year-olds have got a chance or not. On that one run, he deserves to be in this field, make no mistake. How good he is, only time will tell. I agree, I think he will get better as he gets older. But this horse is not here just to make up the numbers.
All right, Matthew quite strong on that. I think he's a stamina horse, but well done to him. Then the last horse to gallop was Love Strike, our horse who only cantered because he runs on Sunday in the R1 million Breeders' Race. And I'm pleased he's taken his position in the Vodacom Durban July. He won the SA Classic in very soft ground over 1800, and he's a tight horse, and I think he could be up with the speed, and if he stays, he stays. If he doesn't, he doesn't. But I'm pleased he's here.
Yeah, Lef, it's good to, like you say, he deserves the run. He's a Group 1 winner. My only concern is he had to come to the races today, and then he has to come back again on Sunday, and then he has to come back the following week. It's a lot of stress on the animals and the floats travelling them up and down. But he deserves his place. He races from up there. He turns on. He won a great race in Joburg. I rode in the race, and he really won well. So good luck to the team, to you and Alish.
Lovestruck won the South African Classic. He beat Talina, who won the Guineas. Actually, I'm a little surprised that Talina is not in the race. I think it's unfortunate because he represents the best 3-year-olds as well. And Lovestruck is right around there with him. So, I don't think he'll have a problem being out of a Rambo Dancer mare by Cahal. I think the stamina he should be all right for the distance. He represents most of the 3-year-olds in the race. And, like Paul says, he takes his chances. And on his day, he's a very good horse.
He certainly is a very good horse. He is a Grade 1 winner. 1,800 metres in soft going on the stand side of turf, or yielding going on the stand side of Turffontein. That is quite a considerable test of stamina. Whether he will stay a hard run 2,200 is debatable, but it's also highly debatable whether this is going to be a hard run race. We've already alluded to the fact that we don't see a lot of pace in the race. This could be the kind of race that will be won by a so-called doubtful stayer. On his day, he's at least as good as any other 3-year-old in the race. They are very levelly matched this year. If you think no worries and those have got a chance, then Lovestruck at his best has got to have some sort of a squeak as well.
All right, now we're going to go on to 4 horses that galloped up in Gauteng. 2 of them are Gavin's. And we'll start with Gavin's horse Seal, who's been a revelation. He can go 7 furlong and he can go double the distance. He's a very good son of Silvano, and he won a cracking good race the other day. Kev, he's a good horse in his own right.
Yeah, Lef, I've seen horses with guts, and this horse has got guts. Tremendous. 60, I think he won with 61 or something in the one day. I know he's a super horse. I'll let Gavin really tell you about him, but he's a super horse. He's a strong horse. He deserves his place by far.
Yeah, Seal stays the trip. There's no doubt about that, and he's drawn in a position where he can go up and take it up himself. So the race won't be run at a canter and a sprint because Seal won't allow that. I can tell you that we won't be allowing a situation where we fall into a canter and a sprint down the straight with a horse that can go 3,200 meters. That would be silly of us. So we've got 3 horses in the race, and Seal will certainly go out there and make sure there's a gallop on. If something goes faster than him, well, then he'll sit second or third. But there'll definitely be a bit of a pace on, and Seal will certainly be up there, and there's no doubt that he stays the trip. And if they allow him to do it his own way and go and do that like that, and comes into the straight and gets first run, he'll be right there at the finish. He's a great horse with a big heart.
He's certainly got a big heart. His form speaks for itself. Ultra consistent, ultra game, effective over a wide range of distances. He's won feature races from 1,600 to 3,200 meters. Delighted to hear that he's going to be allowed to use his stamina and not let the race turn into a 400-meter sprint. His form speaks for itself. He's a tough horse. He's an old horse. He knows. He's won at Grable. He ticks a lot of correct boxes as well. I think he's got to have some sort of a chance.
All right, the stablemate Showgunner is only a one-time winner, but he's got to be the best one-time winner in the country. I think he's placed in 3 Group 1s. He can get in there and lock horns with the best of them. A type of horse who wouldn't surprise people if he won a big race like this. A very good horse in his day as well, Kev.
Yeah, sometimes they're the ones that come to the party when it counts, but he's run behind all the July runners. Like you say, he's the best one-time winner in the country, and he must have done them proud. But I'm sure there is a big one in him, and these are sometimes the ones that come and do it.
Shogun is in the Daily News, the Daily News 2000 finished in front of Pomodoro and White Line Fever. Came out of that and disappointed in the Derby where he had some problems, and then went to Johannesburg where he finished second in the Summer Cup to Wagner. The most important issue about Shogun is that my son Chesney in Johannesburg has found a little problem that they've sorted out in the last 2 weeks. We've battled with him for a long time to find what the issue was. We sent him to Onderstepoort and he's done extensive tests, and after he came back from Onderstepoort we still couldn't find exactly what the problem was, and he ran 3rd in the Champions, the Group 1. Subsequent to that he then ran in that Jubilee where he only got beat 2 lengths, and after that we found the issue that's been bugging him, and it's going to be a significant change to Shogun, and if that's the case and we can improve him 2 or 3 lengths, That's all we need. He's going to be right there at the finish with a good draw.